This is the Seven Figure Standard Podcast, hosted by Arash and Mykie Stiller, with mindset and strategies to help you break through and create personal freedom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figure Standard Podcast. I'm Mykie Stiller, joined by my co-host, Arash and we are so happy to be here with you this week. You know, this episode is something that we've definitely touched on the podcast, but has been coming up a lot lately. And that is, what does it truly mean to go all in? And I don't think there's anyone better to talk on this subject than my business partner, Arash. So, Arash, how are you doing?
I'm great, Mykie. How are you?
I am doing great as well. And why don't we just start right there? What does it mean to go all in?
What does all in mean? And I want everyone to think about that. Have you ever been at a time that you want something so badly, but something kept stopping you from going to that next level? Something you started negotiating with yourself, I don't want it as bad, but really that wasn't it. You know, that's what prevents people from achieving extraordinary things. All in, the best definition that I've ever lived, and I can only tell you by deconstructing, is where you burn all your bridges. You say, this is what I'm doing no matter what. You do whatever the goal demands. And so all in truly means there's no turning back. That's what all in means. It's not just in mindset, but it is in behavior, discipline, and identity. That's what all in is.
Arash, you know what I was thinking as you were saying that is I think sometimes people struggle with the idea of all in or knowing if they're all in or not, because they're thinking, I want something so badly. Like the desire is there. My desire is all in. But what's lagging is their feelings or their emotions and their behavior. So they feel like they're all there, but not everything's following. It's not thoughts, feelings, and behavior, like you just said.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we have to do is we have to understand we all have a battle going on in our mind. And we have to beat the enemy. All of us have an enemy inside of us. That enemy is that voice, that other voice that says, just wait till tomorrow. Or it's that voice that says, I'm not good enough. Or it's that voice that says, I'm going to work so hard. I'm just going to work so hard at this. That's going to be a deterrent for all in too, because it's not about working hard. It's about doing certain things in a certain way. What's another one that the enemy likes to say? You're doing better than most. You're doing better than most.
You should be grateful for what you have.
Yeah, that's another one. You should be grateful for what you have, but it's always, the enemy is always communicating with us through rationalizations, through negotiating with ourselves. That's what we have to conquer. I always say, I'm not trying to give people out when I say this, but I say it's never what somebody thinks is their fault. It's that we're never taught growing up that you have this other voice going on and you have to conquer that voice. That's what prevents people from going all in. Think about this for a second, Mike. Everybody has a want. But why doesn't everybody achieve what they want? Like I get people a lot of times to me, they'll say, I want to scale my business. I want more money. But this is an important understanding of why they don't do it. Because under the hood, on a subconscious level, they may have a bad relationship to people who have a lot of money. And if they don't have that, they're not going to go create that money. There'll be a subconscious block. Or they may have, under the hood, a bad relationship with scaling their business. They may think, that's going to be so much work. That's going to be so much work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But both are not accurate, but that's what stops people from fulfilling their want. Our wants are so great. I mean, we're want creators. Every human being is. And what we want to do is understand that we can have anything we want before we have them, we've got to kill off those seeds on a subconscious level that are growing of I have to work harder, or only the people with money are jerks. We have to get rid of them because that's not true. And so once we do that and stop sabotaging ourselves with these subconscious barriers that we put in our way, well, that's when all in becomes easy. But what we have to have is enough reason to go all in. Some people don't have enough reason to do it because they already are beaten before they start. What if it doesn't work? What if I go all in, I spend all this energy, and it doesn't work? What if it does work? Have you ever thought about that? What if this is your greatest breakthrough, is by making it an irrevocable commitment that this is what I'm doing no matter what? That's what all in is. So all in, we have to have first, the A is absolute clarity. Like, you've got to be so clear of your goal, of your vision, that this is what I'm trading my life for.
So I love what you did there, because you said, what if it doesn't work? So what? Not emotionally involved with that idea. What if it does work? Emotionally involved, emotionally charged by that idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want to do. We want to ask ourselves, what are we trading our life for? We're spending the time anyway. We want to spend it creating an amazing life. Like, everyone think about this for a second. Everybody comes to me, so everybody wants one thing, and that's some form of freedom, whatever that means for everybody. But if I ask the question, how would you like to create freedom? Like, if you had a life of freedom, what would that mean to you? You want to pick up the last part of what I said, because that's where people miss. Oh, I want financial freedom, or I want to scale my business, or I want X. But they never connect it to the most important part. What does it mean to me? When you connect meaning to it, then all in becomes effortless.
Raj, a few episodes ago, we talked about resistance, and every single one of us faces resistance every day. And so that's why being all in is so important. And it's not just today. It's not just on one goal. You have to choose to be all in on whatever you're doing. I can think back to a time when I was younger, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this when you're younger or less aware, that you could do things half in. You could do like half commitments, like, I don't really feel like doing that, but I guess I will. I don't know if it's just maturity, awareness. It is so hard to do something halfway now. It's like, if you're going to do it, overdo it. If you're not going to do it, don't even start. And I know you're the same way. And that really helps overcome resistance too.
Yeah, I mean, we all deal with resistance. We deal with it. We've all dealt with it today. There's no one who hasn't dealt with it. Either resistance won, that voice won, or we won. But when we have absolute clarity, like, this is what I'm doing no matter what, that's when you define your vision. You have an even greater commitment to your goals and dreams. And now you're more connected emotionally to it. Whenever we're connected emotionally to something, it just becomes a part of who we are. So that is why it is so important with the first step of absolute clarity. But let's ask ourselves this question. We're in April now. So if we measure the first part of the year, just the first quarter, and say, was I all in for what I committed to at the end of December or in January? Whatever that answer is, guess what? You can change it. You can be determined, to go all in from this point on. Now, let's look at everything I do. I think of a framework. So I put this into a framework. The first part of the framework is absolute clarity. The second part is long-term obsession. Anyone can be obsessed with something for a moment. So many people give up on their wants because they want instant gratification. But long-term obsession, like, I want it more than anything else. I really want this. I want to scale my business because how many more people am I going to be helping? I want to have that obsession connected to, I'm going to celebrate it, not just as a sprint, but as a long-term goal that I'm going to celebrate with my family and take the most amazing vacation. I'm going to commit beyond my comfort zone. And I'm going to focus on my legacy, not immediate results. Like it just transforms you.
Do you think that planning those rewards helps you stay locked into all in? If that makes sense?
Yes, it does, because it gives you enough reason to do a thing. I think awards are great. I think, material things are great when we're connecting it to a goal. Because you'll always remember, like I remember I hit this amazing goal and I bought this really nice watch. Well, every time I wear this watch, I think of that goal that I accomplished. So it's always with me. Now, you don't have to get a watch. You might not even like watches. Um, to be honest with you, I'm not really into material things that much. I like having nice things, but it's not like what it used to be years ago to me, So, but I always reward myself with something because it always reminds me of something I had accomplished. Um, but what else does all in mean? We have to have leadership over self. We have to be able to give ourselves a command and say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to do no matter what. So we have to lead ourselves every day. I always say at our world-class wealth events, one of the first slides I put up is success is leadership over yourself. That's what all in is, because what's going to happen when you're all in for 35 days, but you still haven't seen the big result? Are you going to give in and start over? Are you going to give in and accept lesser goals? Are you going to give in to the enemy? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Or are we going to lead ourselves? Because discipline always takes us to the finish line. Commitment always takes us to the finish line. And that's what all in means.
Do you think that anyone can win both at a high level and long term, so not just like a short term, one time thing, without being all in?
No, I've never achieved anything great without being all in. Have you?
No.
Dissatisfaction's such a healthy state. Like I always talk about it, I always am dissatisfied. Because I always think, okay, I've done this. Now, what else can I do? Like, I want to test my limits. I want to stretch. I want to continue showing myself what I'm capable of. I was telling my wife the other day, or actually it was last night, we were out to dinner, and I said, what got me to be really effective and great is what's continuing that same thing to keep pushing me forward. Like, I'll never stop working. Like I love creating results. Like I love for myself, for my clients. There's nothing I'm motivated, but I was like, once it got activated inside of me, I can't stop. Like it is a healthy obsession. I'm not attached to it, but I love growing. Like if you watch, I've been fortunate, Mike, that I've been around so many successful people now. Ever since I expanded, the type of people around me have expanded. But I love studying people who are further than me. I learned so much from them, but they all have this one thing that now I'm fortunate enough that I've activated, and I know you've activated. What got me from failure to success is what keeps making me more and more hungry. Like I always say, I can't relate to people who are not all in. And I think I scare some people with that, and I'm not trying to scare them. It's like I can't relate to not creating results. Like we are here for a short period of time. I think it's our responsibility to create results.
If you could pinpoint it, what do you think it is keeping people from being all in? Is it fear? Is it lack of discipline? Like, what is it?
It's a faulty story of themselves. So it's identity.
Identity.
They don't think they can do it. It's not because they've never been all in, but it's a lot of energy to be all in the beginning. Your brain wants to conserve energy, but when you're creating quantum leaps, you have to use more energy in the beginning. But then that more energy is kind of like the example I always use about driving a car. I remember when we first learned how to drive a car, we were super focused. Now it's so simple, right? So everything is hard in the beginning, then it becomes effortless at the end. But people have this story they tell themselves from a past that they're not good enough. But you never compare it to your past because you may not have the same level of commitment that you do today. You may not have the same dissatisfaction for you to move forward as you do today. So you never want to compare it to the past. You want to compare it to how you're committed to achieving X.
Mm-hmm.
I always talk about my mentor. Like, he was the most disciplined person I'd ever been around. He was the most aware person I'd ever been around. He would always tell me, Arash, when I make a decision, it's done. Like, he would do it. Like, he was so good at that. He'd make up his mind and go do it. He used to tell me that all you have to do is make up your mind, go do it. And All In became so effortless, and it'll become effortless for everybody listening to this. But you can't do it mechanically. Stop going into this old story. That person is not here anymore. So we don't want to compare it to that. I had a client ask me something the other day, and he said, Arash, what about the good parts of the past? Do you want to let those go? I said, no, you want to bring those to your future. There's good parts of my past that I bring to my future. But do you realize I had never gone all in? Then one day I went all in because my back was against the wall. I had no plan B, Mike. I had no plan B. And from that point on, all in became part of my identity.
Mm-hmm.
So all in, if you go study somebody successful, you'll see them. They're all in all the time, all the time. It's not hard. It's just a part of their identity. It's who they are now. But you'll watch other people, they're procrastinating all day long. They're constantly putting out, I'm going to create this business. I'm going to leave my job. I'm going to do X. And they never do. They're just busy being busy. Well, that's not all in.
I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to start next month. I'm going to start in January.
Tomorrow, I'm going to do it. It's always tomorrow, 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 tomorrow.
Raj, I've seen people, and I'm sure you have too, who they start, like, I would say they're all in, and then they stop. They lose that motivation. They lose that discipline. They lose the all in, and then they'll start again, and then they lose it. And so it's this start, stop. And it's a terrible thing to do because you can't gain any momentum. You can't gain any traction. Why does that happen?
You're talking about me. That was me. I mean, I'm laughing because you're describing me to the letter. So I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was overcommitting. I would do too many things instead of do a few things. Like, I was such a great starter. I can't even begin to tell you. I always had a certain level of belief in myself. But it wasn't like I had confidence, but I had a certain level of belief. It wasn't terrible. Okay. My mentor used to always tell me, from the day I met you, you had way more confidence than I ever had when I started this. But I'll tell you this, I would just get out to the gates. I'd be so excited. And then I had no discipline. That's why. And
I've got one more reason that I want you to talk about, if you agree with it. And I want to see your thoughts on it. I think people are conditionally all in. So I don't know if that's all in, if the circumstances change fast enough.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Why did I stop? I mean, people right now listening to this, I'm sure they could relate to me. Have you ever said you were all in, but then a week later you were not? 2 weeks later you were not? Mine was about 30 days at that time. But now, like, when I commit to something, it's done. Like, I never question it. I was just talking to a great client of mine, Tigran, and he's like, do you ever have resistance to your goals? I said, never. I said, probably since 2017, I haven't had resistance to it. Because my awareness and understanding of the mind and how creation works changed so much. Mm-hmm. I said, I never know when it's going to happen. I hope it happens sooner because I'm very patiently impatient. But I never wonder if it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. But what happens is people stop because they don't have proper frameworks. Life is about a framework, and people never get the proper direction. That's what we were talking on one of our last episodes on mentorship. Like, I didn't have the right framework or the right direction, and now I do. And that's why my results keep compounding and compounding and compounding.
This is so good. And I think it's such an important topic that we're talking about. Let's go ahead and jump into an action set. How can someone implement this?
Before we do that, this is important to understand. What is it costing you to not be all in? What is it costing you? And I want you to ask yourself that question. What is it costing you to not be all in? It's costing people, I mean, they're going to think I'm being dramatic, but I promise you I'm not. It's literally cost them thousands of opportunities a year. It's costing them millions and millions of dollars. But what do you need to overcome? You've got to overcome and understand who you are and stop defaulting to the old story. Stop defaulting to what you didn't do and start focusing and giving yourself a chance to set yourself up for success. But a great thing is always small wins. It's always small wins. So the exercise I want to give you guys today, pick something just for today that you're going to go all in on. Maybe it's earning a sale today. Maybe it's reaching out to somebody that you've been wanting to reach out to. Pick one thing that you're going to go all in today. If you could do it today, you could keep stacking all in every day. And I want you to think about this. What do you want the most? That's what I want you to go all in on. What would give you the greatest amount of pride, the greatest amount of excitement? That's the thing that I want you to go all in on. And remember, if you're not all in, you're all out. This isn't 90% in. This is you put every cell of your being into this. And you're going to use more energy in the beginning. But I promise you, it's going to be your new identity.
So good. Arash, thank you so much. And thanks to all of you. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and leave us a rating and review. Share this with your friends and family members or on social media. And we'll see you next week with another episode of the 7-Figure Standard podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 7-Figure Standard. We hope you found the insights and strategies helpful on your journey to success. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform to help us reach more people like you. To learn more about Arash and Mykie and how Voss Coach & Co. can help you achieve your goals and reach new levels of success, visit vosscoachandco.com. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of 7-Figure Standard.